swept in by... And a chance here for... And a chance here for Huddersfield, which is swept in by...
Hello, everybody. I'm not sure what happened there. The intros weren't actually working very well, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know if it played, but yeah, we're here. Welcome back to the channel for another live stream as we, obviously look ahead to tomorrow's game. But we're only going to touch upon the game a little bit. We're not going to do too much. It's not going to be like usual preview show. I have got other things that we're going to discuss tonight, including the very fiery press conference from Breitenreiter yesterday. And I've also obviously done some polls during the week asking you guys to vote whether you want Andre to stay and how you feel about relegation. So we're going to use those minutes with those topics as well. So yeah, but yeah, welcome. Hope you've all had a very good week anyway. Yeah, it's good to be back on, and yeah, hope you're all doing well, and thank you all for your support. If you do like what you hear or whatever, please make sure you do smash the likes and subscribe if you are new around here. We are trying to build up towards the 500 subscribers, but yeah, we're going to get into the comments first before we get into the show. Blue Taste says Stevie Joe, ole ole. Yeah, I mean, final game tomorrow, isn't it? And then, yeah, back to the League One days, of course. Aiden's in, says, hi mate, hope you're okay. Yeah, big up to you, Aiden, always in here. And yeah, I'm not doing so bad, thanks. But yeah, I just don't understand what happened with my intro, guys. It wasn't playing for some reason. Anyway, I have no idea what happened. But anyway, we're here. So yeah, we're going to talk a bit about the game, but like I said, it's not going to be like a usual preview show. Because like I said, I've got other topics I want to discuss in the time that we have. But yeah, we're going to touch upon the game a little bit. But yeah, obviously Ipswich, I'm going to play Ipswich tomorrow at Portman Road. It's going to be a very lively atmosphere down there. So they're on the brink of the Premier League, of course, 1 point needed to secure that. And yeah, I mean, just pay compliment to them really, because I think what the job that Kieran McKenna's done, back-to-back promotions, I mean, it is very impressive. And the fact that they're up there, okay, they haven't done it yet, to be fair, but they're literally on the brink. I think they will end up doing it. But yeah, back-to-back promotions, what it looks like. Maybe that will come back to haunt me tomorrow, but I think they'll do it now. But regardless, I think the fact that they're up there in their first season back in the Championship, I think it's just incredible, really. So obviously, I did want to pay a bit of compliment to them. I think Kieran McKenna is a very good manager. I think he's going to have a very good career within. I think he was linked with the Brighton job, wasn't he? Actually, if De Zerbi leaves, so yeah, he's going to have a good career for sure. He's got all the credentials to be a manager, and he's proving how good he is now. Their top scorer obviously is Connor Chaplin and Nathan Broadhead with 13 goals. Ones to watch, obviously, Amara Hutchinson, obviously an attacking midfielder on loan from Chelsea, and he's got 9 goals to his name and 5 assists. Like I say, Ipswich are second 93 points. And yeah, last time they drew 1-1 at home. But yeah, Ipswich 1 point away from promotion. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They drew the point, don't they? So, but yeah, fair play to them. And you know, I don't know. I don't know if I feel envious of. Obviously, we've been to the Premier League, and look how it turned out. It was probably the worst thing that happened to us. To be honest with you, I think that's where. I think this is where the horrible culture that's been developed at this club has come from, really. The Premier League, bringing in players that didn't really want to play for the club. And we've kind of been stuck with them. And also, I just think that was the downfall, really, in what we're seeing now. But yeah, fair play to them. And obviously, I wish them the best for. I think they will get to the Premier League now. So yeah, wish them all the best for sure. But yeah, for us, the lineup. I mean, like I haven't done a lineup tonight, but I kind of want to discuss what I want to see tomorrow anyway. Now Chris Maxwell, our number 2 goalkeeper, is going to be playing. With obviously Andrea Breitenreiter said in his press conference, which look, I'm happy for him because I think he's. He really did cover very well when Nichols got injured earlier on in the season. Did very well. I think you could arguably say he was unfortunate to be dropped when Nichols came back. I think he's a top professional on the field. So, yeah, it'd be good to see him. And I think, personally, I think Nichols will probably be sold in the summer. So I think Maxwell could potentially be our number 1 next season in League One, which I wouldn't be totally opposed to that. I think he's very good. So I think he's a good keeper for us to keep hold of for now. Take us into League One, really. Now, other things I'd like to see. I want to see some of the youngsters tomorrow. I do. I want to see some of the youngsters put in. I think. Like I say, I think Breitenreiter's made it quite clear that the ones that couldn't care less aren't going to be playing. I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of lineup he goes with tomorrow, because I think that'll speak volumes to. I don't want to speculate who has been the idiots in the dressing room, to put it politely, but. I think his lineup tomorrow will be pretty much. It'll say a lot, won't it? It'll say a lot, and I think we'll just have to see. Because, like I say, the prima donnas in our squad, it's an absolute disgrace, isn't it? Really, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad that there's players in that dressing room who have completely and utterly shown zero pride in that shirt, zero effort, and actually they should be embarrassed by how they've just been. Really, I think it is very poor. I'd like to see the likes of the youngsters like Pat Jones. I think Pat Jones should start. Tom Iapenda. I think Tom Iapenda is obviously a youngster, 19 years of age. I think it would be good to see him in midfield tomorrow, obviously central midfield. So, yeah, I think he should play. Like I say, Bojan's not a youngster, but I think Bojan should start. And Ben Wiles, I'd probably like to see Ben Wiles start. He's obviously going to be here next season. I think put him in a full pre-season, and I think Ben Wiles could be a good player for us in League One, but I could be wrong. But hopefully, if he gets a full pre-season, he'll be all right. But yeah, anyway, let's have a look at your comments. I've missed a few since I've been speaking. Wants to watch their entirety. I know. Like I said, I'm not really doing my usual preview show tonight. It's kind of just talk a little bit about the game, and then move on to the topics that I want to discuss. Aidan says, I saw Ipswich on Tuesday and Saturday, and they're so good with the way they move the ball. They never give in when they concede, give up when they concede. Huge credit to them. Yeah, they are. They're a credit, aren't they? They're a credit the way they've gone about the business, and yes, for them to be even up there, it is just an incredible. Nobody thought they would be. So, things like that. I think they're brilliant stories, aren't they? And they really held their own at the top amongst some other teams that are arguably bigger than them, really. So yeah, fair play. I've travelled down to Colchester for a family wedding on my birthday and we're staying in an Airbnb, which is no Wi-Fi. I'm currently hotspotting off my dad's phone. Oh, nice one. Well, hope you have a good time and look at the dedication. You haven't got any Wi-Fi, but you've found a way to come on and watch my stream. I appreciate it. Yeah, big up to you. Right, you've given me your lineup, Blue Terry. Yeah, like I say, if you've got your lineups to hand, then fair play. But I haven't actually drafted one up tonight. I've kind of been, I really want to do that because, like I say, it takes a bit of time. But yeah, so you've gone 4-2-3-1. You've got Maxwell in goal, Spencer, Pellick, Pearson, and Turton with Kasumu and Iapenda. Yeah, good, nice one. You've got Iapenda in there. Karoma, Radone, Jones, and Falls. Interesting, yeah. I mean, look, I think that looks a good lineup to me. I think, you're spot on, get some youth in there, and really, I kind of wish we would have gone with the youth a bit sooner, and I know you can't really throw them into the deep end, but I don't know. I just think the fact that there's been so many players this season that have just thrown the towel in and just couldn't care less. I would prefer to see the youngsters in, really. And I know you can't rely on youngsters to field all your team, but I just think a few of them in there would have been nice. But I can understand you have to bet them in, don't you? But yeah, nice lineup, to be fair. Nice lineup. It's my birthday, Joshua said. Well, happy birthday, Joshua. Hope you have a good birthday and have a good weekend. Your family wedding there. Yeah, big up to you. Blue Terry says Healy has done nothing wrong, but don't want to risk me a nothing game. Yeah, true. I think obviously I can understand your lineup, to be honest with you. And to be fair, I like it. I think I would go with that lineup, to be honest with you. So you got it spot on, to be fair. Alex is in. Hello there, Alex. How are you doing? Welcome on in. Like I say, guys, if you do like what you hear, please do make sure you drop a like. It's free. Just drop a like. And it does help with the algorithm of the video as well. So I appreciate everybody's support as well. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game. I think, obviously, it's going to be a tough game for us, but I think it'd be nice if we could finish on a draw. I think if we can finish on a draw, then that'd be really good. I don't think we'll win. To be fair, I don't even think we'll draw. I think they'll win it. They'll beat us. But if we can get a draw, then that'd be. It wouldn't kind of correct everything that's gone on. Obviously, we're still relegated, but I just think maybe it would be nice to get a draw to finish with. But I can't see us winning it. But yeah. Alex says I'm off to Ipswich tomorrow. Oh, nice one. Well, enjoy. Like I say, you're gonna have to get up early, aren't you, tomorrow for that? I'm not going. But guys, there will be a watch along tomorrow on the channel. By the way, I will be doing a watch along. It's been a while since I did one actually. So yeah, there will be a watch along tomorrow on the channel for this game. We're going live around 12:15, and we'll do. I haven't done one for ages, so be good to do one. So yeah, tune in tomorrow for free, and be good. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's going to be Ipswich obviously need a point to get promotion. They always look to win games though, Ipswich, so they'll always look to try and win the game. They won't go out there to. They won't go out there to draw, even though they only need a point. But yeah, they're gonna. Like I say, it's going to be a good atmosphere, and yeah, I think it's kind of they're very, very happy, and we're all doom and gloom, So it's like opposite moods, So But yeah, that's football. Unfortunately, some teams go down, some teams go up. So it is what it is. Here's the live prediction. I'm going for Ipswich 3-1. And yeah, I'll be there tomorrow, mate. Nice one. Yeah, you'll be watching the watch. Like I say, I thought I'd do one. Like I say, it's been a while. I might do a few more watch-alongs, to be fair. Obviously, there's playoff games coming up as well, so I might do a few neutral watch-alongs. Well, I do like them. So yeah, good to see. And like I say, 3-1 Ipswich. I can't argue with that. I think it'll be I think they will beat us, to be honest with you. But yeah, can't lie. I'm more interested in seeing what Andrea says at full time. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd be interesting, won't it? Be interesting to see what happens. It's like it's a nothing game, isn't it, really? This for us, it's a nothing game for us, and I wish the season would have ended last week, really, but it's one of those. You have to play the full 46 games. That's part of it. So yeah. Joseph, hello. Sorry, I'm late. No worries. Yeah, don't be sorry. It's fine. Now we're going to go on to the press conference now, which obviously was yesterday. Now this was so interesting, wasn't it? I mean, it was a real eye opener, and I think there's more to come out about all this, in the coming weeks, maybe days. And like I say, Andre Breitenreiter, let's just say, threw many punches in the direction of a number of people, including the players and previous manager pre-season, most notably. He criticised the poor pre-season at the start when Warnock was in charge and the lack of fitness in the squad, which he was told about by many people around the club and players. He said he knew about the fitness problem and a really poor pre-season where the focus was on playing golf and staying in the pub. Now, that is interesting to say the least, but not about some of the other problems he has found since arriving. So yeah, he knew about problems, but he didn't know the full extent of the full problem, really. Says in hindsight, maybe he was too calm for a long time. Now, look, I think what I will say about this pre-season, the pre-season that we had, I did question it because I questioned the teams that we were playing against. Like I said, we were playing pub teams in Cornwall. Now, for me, I said it at the time, actually, I remember. I said, I don't really see the point of playing sides so bad, that are so low down the pyramid, because it's not testing. It's not testing you. It's not getting your fitness up. And obviously, we didn't know the extent of what happened whilst it was down there. But obviously, we're being told that there wasn't much emphasis on training. It was pretty much it was pretty damning what was said, really, wasn't it? Like I say, he did hint that he was going to offer a chance to take a look at other players in this game, but he doesn't anticipate to make loads of changes. But he did say he did want to look at a few others. He also said that there were players that have mentally checked out of the club, but says the club's injury issues limited his selection options. He pointed to the likes of Nakayama, Balka, Ward as players he would have loved to have had available throughout his spell. Breitenreiter also said that if he had known about all the issues at the club, he may have decided another way. In other words, he wouldn't have come about coming to the club. He says it was a high risk for him to make the move, but says it was the right decision for him. He also went to say that they need to finish the season responsibly, then discuss things with us at the club about a reset in the club's culture and identity. We'll speak after the game and then see what happens in the future. He also went to say he appreciates the culture among the fans, however, and said the club now need a culture internally to match that. Lastly, he said there's still a lot of players who have their hearts in the right place who should get a chance to be part of the club's reset. Said he does not wish to name names one way or another, and will be taking talking to the chairman, see if there's an agreement. So obviously there was the few that have just not interested at all. Now, I am going to draw a few conclusions from this press conference, by the way. So let me just get my conclusions up now. But first, let's go into Aidan's comment before we go on. I was surprised by the pre-season because we had Neil Warnock at the time, so why did Warnock let it happen? I'm not blaming Warnock or anything, but my point is, why was he letting it happen? Look, I think Aidan, it's just... I think with Warnock, I think it was a strange one reason, really, but I think with Warnock's style of football, I think it's not... To play Warnock's style of football, you don't actually have to be really fit, as silly as that sounds. Because his man management, he gets, he'll get players to run through brick walls for him, you know what I mean? So it's kind of different, isn't it? Because I think it was strange that he allowed things to happen like that, but I think that he's just from another kind of era, if you could say so, obviously managing for so long. So I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it's just one of those where Warnock has his ways. He has his ways. Breitenreiter's style of play is all about fitness, right? Whereas Warnock's, the emphasis isn't on fitness. It's you know what I mean? It's on other aspects. And so I think that there's different kind of managers out there. Obviously, Warnock's proper old school. So yeah, but it is a bit strange, isn't it? Like I said, I don't agree, by the way, with playing teams that are at a pub level in Cornwall. I thought that was a waste of time. We only played teams that were like I say, that were basically pub teams, and like I said, we usually do have some of the lower league teams, but then we sometimes have a few that that will test us towards the end. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what he isn't, is he? He's not known for having those fit teams, and that's what I kind of said. His emphasis isn't on the fitness of the players, because obviously his man management, he gets players to run through brick walls for him, like I said, and he won't accept any passengers. Now, what I will say is, I'm going to go through the press conference a bit more in more detail now. Now, I think there were also a few hints in this press conference, by the way. He was kind of hinting that he was going to leave, and that's the impression I got from this. Now, what I will say is, I think that first of all, like I said, injuries, it did force Breitenreiter to pick players showing poor behaviours. But my counteract to that is why couldn't we have maybe put a few of the youngsters in? I know that obviously, kind of throwing the youngsters in the deep end would that have helped, but I'd rather see the youngsters out there giving it their all than players that don't wish to be at the club. Now, like I said, Breitenreiter did mention the likes of Balka, Nakayama and Ward's injuries over the past few months as being problematic. As like I say, it left him forced into playing players that he knew were bad characters. I find this really an interesting admission, really, because I think there'd be few managers that would be willing to allow players who are not pulling their weight to get anywhere near the first team, never mind regularly start games. So I think it is interesting. Like I say, if you think back to February, March, when we look at the options that we had, we often had to name fewer than 9 subs because of the injuries, and all the other option would have been to throw in players from the academy who weren't really ready for Championship football. So I don't really think that would have been fair, but they were just kind of there for the experience, wasn't they, of the match day, get used to it. But for me, it feels like the dressing room has really took over, and there's been no authority from the manager to do anything about it. Now, okay, he's coming out and saying all these things now. I kind of go into my thoughts about this whole situation, because I do have my views. I've never really hid the fact that I haven't really been overly impressed by Breitenreiter. I don't think he's covered himself in any glory either, because I've mentioned it on previous shows about it, and I think that he's blaming the players and he's throwing punches at other people, i.e. Neil Warnock. Is that really... Okay, the players. I'll say the players. Yes, absolutely, because the players, we deserve to know what's happened. But would he have been best doing this at the end of the season? I don't know. I'm the timing of all this just seems a bit strange. And the fact that Breitenreiter is only now talking about it, didn't manage to sort out these issues directly, doesn't speak volumes kind of about him and his coaching abilities, despite his comments now at least helping to kind of diagnose the issue. Now, he wouldn't have come if he had known about all the problems at Town, which we kind of touched upon. And I think this is kind of a hint for me that he kind of hinted that he wanted to leave, because he did actually make a reference to not regretting his decision to come, but my impression was that he very much thought he gambled his reputation on taking on a team at the bottom of the English second tier, and it's kind of backfired on him, because too many players, of course, are rotten, basically. And kind of the suggestion here was he didn't have much appetite to drop down to the third tier and risk his reputation even more. He talked about the culture. The club needs a cultural identity change from the bottom to the top. I thought this was another interesting thing because, like I say, so if we're looking from the top, that has to include those roles at the top, i.e., the chief executive, the sporting director, and then it filters down, of course, to his role as manager, because he did, whether people like to admit it or not, he failed to fix the issues. Now, I'm not saying he's solely responsible. I'm just saying he didn't fix these issues, and the coach plays the youth team all the way down to obviously the staff. So yeah, I mean, look, I think relegation is a good reason to have a look at everything at the club, see what's working, what isn't, and make changes where required, really, if you get what I'm saying. I think if you look at the likes of Jake Edwards and Mark Cartwright, for me, I've made no mistake, they have to leave their positions. They've failed miserably. Now, I think it would certainly be interesting to see the kind of reaction to, and kind of the change that are being made, that are going to be made. I think, if you look at Neil Warnock, by the way, as well, I think his personality was holding an awful lot together. And since then, all these issues have kind of festered behind the scenes, if you could say so. And yeah, like I say, Neil Warnock, obviously pre-season focused on golf and going to the pub, and they were fit enough to play 90 minutes. Like I say, playing pub teams, I didn't agree with that. It was hardly surprising, that Breitenreiter said his teams weren't fit enough. We've kind of seen the evidence of that, haven't we? In the games, I think if you look at our squad, we can see that the players haven't been fit enough. Fans have also seen the evidence so often this season will capitulate in the late stages of games. But I think it was quite shocking, really, for a manager to be so critical of another's methods. because Neil Warnock is different, right? And I don't particularly like that. I don't particularly like the fact that he did that, if I'm being honest, because he's kind of. It looks like he's kind of trying to put the blame on everybody else, but yet, what has he done in these 12 games? Yes, it's only 12 games, but what has he done in these 12 games? I haven't seen enough for me to say that he should stay on as manager. Like I say, Warnock's pre-season approach comes from another era, and that's what I said. And in fairness, values team spirit and togetherness over getting to peak fitness. That's what he is about. So to criticise somebody's methods like that, for me, I don't think that's fair. And to be fair, and Warnock will always say that his teams tend to be fit enough anyway, but that's usually because his man management can get that running through brick wall desire out of players. Like I say, when Warnock left, so did that ability kind of to get more from the players. If we saw their drop off, of course. But like I said, they hadn't done more of the traditional pre-season training to prepare their bodies the usual way. I will kind of accept that. Now the pre-season, it happens in July. There's no real chance once the season starts to improve upon that base level of fitness because the intensity of the fixture list in the Championship obviously is relentless, isn't it? Some players think they are more intelligent than the manager. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of players that do feel like that, don't they? And I think that when Breitenreiter was asked about whether he had tried to reason with the players that had the bad attitude in the squad, he explained that he had tried and failed many times. But the problem he has had in that they think they are more intelligent than the manager. This was pretty thingy towards the players, wasn't it? Really, if you look at it, pretty damning towards the players. This. Now the players seem to have not listened to any manager. Okay, Worthington, we seem to see a reaction there for sure. But under Moore, who, to be fair, Moore should never have been employed by the club anyway. That was a disaster appointment. But if you look at the training by Moore, and the players are checked out. The players are checked out when Warnock left. And I think that ignoring coaches is something that the players have kind of become accustomed to, unfortunately. And like I say, getting a manager every few months, it just isn't. There's no stability at all, is there? And maybe that is part of the bad attitude and tendency to ignore instructions. But I don't want to kind of make excuses because I think the players have shown no pride in the shirt. They've disgraced themselves. And we have been let down as fans ultimately. So that's the reality. Like I say, it's really sad. The players were just doing their own thing and not caring in the world really, were they? And that's not good. That's not acceptable. Now he also touched upon this, the atmosphere in the training ground at the start of this week. Obviously, we pretty much got relegated last week, and he questioned some players that the kind of the atmosphere. There's some players, it was all wrong. It was all wrong. What I mean by that is that he said that the atmosphere among some of the players at the start of this, it was like we had won a promotion. He also suggested some players had taken the impact of relegation seriously, so not going to. We have got some good players in there. We have got some players that do want to be there, for sure. But unfortunately, there's too many of those that don't want to be here that have really impacted. Like I say, some of them, he suggests some players had taken the impact of relegation seriously, but others seemingly weren't bothered. I I just can't imagine how that could have happened. It's mind-boggling, isn't it, how that has been allowed to happen. Like I say, many players don't care about the club. Again, like I say, he was asked about the players, if some players don't care about the club. Rather than sidestepping to the question, he just said for sure. That was an answer that came back from the coach. Like I say, there were many who felt he felt this way. He thought that most teams can cope with 2 or 3 players who aren't good enough, who aren't good characters, but the group of bad influences was too big, and the good professionals, Hogg, Lees, Hellick, all became injured at key moments, and their influence was lost. Now, given these comments, it hints that there must be a pretty large amount of this squad, this current squad in this group that he's talking about here. So not just a couple of obvious ones that were dropped from their team last weekend. Of course, we know that the changes that were made last weekend, but there was a significant number of the squad. And, given that quite a few names were listed as the positive ones, as like I say, who suffered injuries, like of Hogg, Ward, Nakayama, Lees, Balke, Hellick, then it kind of starts to narrow the field of who we might be talking about. But yeah, anyway, let's get into your comments whilst I've kind of... Blue says, I think Andres tried to control the dressing room, but ultimately you can't make players listen or follow the rules. Yeah, but again, that is his job, isn't it, though, Blue Terrier? I think that, yes, okay, you can't force players, but I just think the way... How come he's not been able to stamp his authority in that dressing room? And I know that we're comparing someone like Neil Warnock, but who was the best at getting people on side and not taking any rubbish from it. But it's as if he's allowed the big characters to just take over and just let them walk all over him, really. I don't really think that's a sign of a good coach, really, for me. I don't know, maybe I'm being too harsh, but I get what you're saying, but I'm kind of thinking that he has to have that authority, and if he hasn't, then he's lost the dressing room. And okay, it's not easy to keep the dressing room when there's so many toxic players in there. But I don't know. You could, I don't know. It is a strange one, isn't it? I didn't watch the press conference, but the way he said Maxwell deserves to start when I'm here, that got me thinking, yeah, he's leaving. Yeah, I mean, we are going to get into that now, because these are the hints that I got from the press conference that made me feel like he was on his way. Like I said, you said about the Chris Maxwell comment as well, because he did say Chris Maxwell deserves to start one game when I'm in charge. So yeah, it does seem quite alarming, that statement. But that I'm in charge. So it did suggest it was his last game in charge, to be honest with you, and his kind of final opportunity to play the backup goalkeeper that we've got. And I think it was kind of a little hint that he isn't expected to hang around for long. So yeah. Like I say, it does. Like I say, there were a lot of comments made. Like I say, but is this Breitenreiter's attempt to kind of clear the decks amongst kind of to clear the decks because he plans on overseeing a town reset over the summer? It feels like more like someone who. It feels like more someone is trying to get their excuses in before leaving a job in which they've quite obviously underperformed. Like I said, I believe all what he said, by the way. I'm not calling him a liar at all in all of what he said, because I believe it. I think when we've been watching the game, when we've been at the ground, we've seen something's not right, really, haven't we? We've seen that players have checked out and given in and not putting in the effort that's required. And yeah, it just... But I just think the timing of these comments, what I will say, the timing of these comments is more to do with kind of Breitenreiter managing kind of his reputation and venting his frustration rather than showing actual care for the future direction of Huddersfield Town. Because if you cared about the club and his job security, I think keeping his mouth shut would probably have been better, to be honest with you. But it's been far more interesting. He's been willing to spill the beans. Yeah, of course, like I say, it's been far more interesting, of course. But I just, yeah. So look, there were many things that were said in the press conference, and as I say, it's one of those. I think it is refreshing to hear the manager obviously come out and be really honest with us. I don't think any manager that we've had has been so. I don't know what the word. I have not known a manager that has come out and said the culture is wrong. The players, we've got so many bad players that have got such bad attitude. They've made the dressing room toxic. I've never seen these statements really from a manager before that we've had. But does it feel like he isn't taking responsibility? I'm not sure because, like I said, he has labelled the blame at everybody else's door. He hasn't obviously focused. He hasn't actually talked about himself. He's put all the blame on everybody else. And I think really that kind of feel like he's going to be going. He did play the victim quite a bit in this. Also kind of played that integrity card. And then, like I say, he chucks everyone and everything under the bus, which is it unprofessional to do that? Is it? I know, obviously, as fans, we want to know what's happening behind the scenes. Of course we do. But a guy that's employed by the football club, is it unprofessional? I think it possibly is. I would have preferred him to kind of expand on his shortfall as a manager because, look, he wasn't strong enough to manage that dressing room. Yes, I'm not saying it's not difficult, but he wasn't. He didn't, right? He increased the fitness work and injured loads of players in the process. The formations, I think, were poor a lot of the time. Played players out of position. The subs were rubbish, and that destabilised the midfield a lot of the time. And I felt like his management was quite fearful in games like Rotherham, for example, where we should have been going for that game. We should have had the approach spot on there. But it felt like it was really fearful, And, yeah. And then, like I say, a number of weeks ago when West Brom came to town, Corberan, of course, came. And he made excuses. Again, post-match, outclassed by Corberan, but he just made excuses. And as I said, there seems to be a lot of blame and pointing the finger here, in which, whilst I admire it to an extent, but I just think, I don't know if it's all to do, is it more about himself in protecting his reputation rather than thinking about the club? I think that ultimately, if things needs to be said, I just think these kind of statements that he's come out with, and the post-match comments refusing to commit to his future at the club on numerous occasions, I think that's got all the signs for me to suggest that he isn't going to be staying. But yeah, didn't he also say he didn't want to get sacked in the press conference yesterday as well? Yeah, well he did. He said something about. I'm gonna get some more quotes up here, guys. Actually, because I have got a few quotes here that he did say. I did obviously watch it, but I didn't actually make notes of everything he said. Here we are. I think it's here. I'm not here for a long time. I have to be careful because of potentially losing my job, but I want to have success everywhere, so I have to be responsible. I think that's the statement that you're talking about, isn't it? So yeah, another kind of thing about it was as well is that I think he was told about some issues, but I think the board didn't tell him the full extent of the issues, and that's going back to the fact that he wouldn't have joined if he would have known the full extent of the problems, really. And yeah, so he's been lied to. So if that doesn't say anything about the board, then I don't know what doesn't. Because like I said, the board are not fit for purpose. The majority of these players are not fit for purpose. The manager hasn't covered himself. The managers this season, okay, Worthington, but the managers haven't covered themselves in glory this season. So, it's just been a complete and utter disaster. And it's going to take a long time for this to get better, I feel, unfortunately. And yeah, but it is one of those, it is hard to take, really, isn't it? Because, we've been told by the club to come and support the players, back the club and all this. But all along, they've known that what's been happening in that dressing room to the full extent of it, because obviously the people in the club have the ins and outs of it, of course they do. But they've known full well. So it just feels like we've been taken advantage of, really, if you get me. I think we've just been taken as just plain stupid. And yeah, I just can't get over it. Now, we're going to move along now. We are going to talk about Breitenreiter, if people want to stay or not. Mind you, this I did do kind of a poll on my social media, and this was before the press conference. So, but obviously, I will still go ahead with it. But I asked people how we all felt about relegation, and I did get a few comments that I'll read out. But first, I kind of want to share my response. I mean, look, I think for me, like I said, I am absolutely gutted that, obviously, because like I said, relegation, it is horrible, isn't it? It really is horrible. It's never a nice feeling. Like I said, going down to the third tier for the first time in 12 years, it's a low for us. It's a real low. I didn't envision us to be in this position. And I think if you look at the ending of last season, where we'd stayed up and they were a good vibe, weren't they, around the place? I thought from that moment that we could start a real freshie. Obviously, the owner was coming in, and obviously Warren then obviously was announced as staying on. But yeah, ultimately, I just wanted a season of stability, and the decisions off the field, all the issues inside the dressing room, which obviously has all come out now. It's painful to take this, really, isn't it? And I think, yes, we've been struggling for the past 10 out of the 12 seasons. In terms of relegation, we've been fighting relegation for 10 out of the 12 seasons. And I think that part has been really draining as a fan, just constantly up against it all the time. It hasn't been easy. And like I say, League One, it's a real slogging League One. We all know this, don't we? It's a real slogging League One. It's not an easy league to get out of. Just ask many clubs, but just ask ourselves, because it took us 11 years to get out of that division. So it isn't an easy league to get out of, is it? And I just think, yeah, we have had good time in League One, to be fair. Obviously with Lee Clark, obviously that unbeaten run that we went and got, that long unbeaten run that we had in League One. Obviously the playoff final win as well against Sheffield United, which obviously was famously known as Alex Smithy's Day. But yeah, we have had some good time in League One. And I know people have said maybe this is to go down to League One. We're able to reset now and build, but I just wish we would have been able to reset in the Championship, and that's what should have happened last summer, really. But obviously it didn't, and our luck has run out, unfortunately. So, but yeah, it was inevitable, wasn't it, really? But yeah, we're going to get into some of the comments that I had on my socials. That I did put a post out about this anyway, so that's what I mean. So let's have a look. I'm going to get them up now. 1 second there. But yeah, let's just have a look. I said not I said not bothered either way because I want him to have a transfer window and see what he does. But I'm also saying no because he hasn't had enough wins. Plus, I don't think he wants to stay. Yeah, talking about the manager. Yeah, I get that. But yeah, let's have a look at. Just look. No. Here we are. Here we are. So Wakefield Terrier says he feels gutted, but we wasted the chance. Neil wanted to give his last season and then give the team to a poor manager, Darren Moore. Now we're paying the price. And whatever happened in pre-season at the start of the season, golfing and pub days, heads should spin. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't look good, but like I say, I think Warnock does have his own ways, and I think that if Warnock would have stayed, I do stick by the statement that we would have stayed up if we would have kept him longer. That's just my opinion, because I still think even because Neil Warnock's squads aren't around fitness. The emphasis isn't there, is it, for that? DTPLC said we've been saved the last few years by points deductions for other teams. That's not deflecting the blame from how poor the managerial appointments have been this season. Yeah, I agree. JPW, motorbike coming past my house there. He says, honestly not bothered. Apart from 2 years in playoff finals, we've been in relegation battles most years. Sadly for me, it was eventually inevitable. And Nick Thorpe said, Warnock gave us a stay of execution last season. Poor recruitment during the summer window. Dreadful manager appointments throughout the season. Once Warnock was sacked far too early, meant it felt inevitable. Cartwright and Edwards shoulder most of the blame. Nagel is new and raw. Yeah, thank you for those contributions. And Aidan, you said as well, read yours out. We've been so lucky the past few years, and to be honest, we deserve relegation this season. A lot of mistakes made this season, so we need to clear out within players and the board. Yeah, I agree. I agree with all those. So yeah, thank you all for those contributions in that. Now we're going to talk about obviously the Andre Breitenreiter his future is the uncertainty. I would like to say I did a poll on my social media asking people if they wanted him to stay or go, or they weren't bothered either way. So let's have a look at the results. 49% said yes, they do want him to stay. 27% said no, and 24% said not bothered either way. That was on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I did do it on all my socials though, guys. So yeah, let's have a look at the other ones. I should have been more organised. Here we are. Now on Instagram, it was different. 32% said yes, they do want him to stay. 44% said no, they do not want him to stay. And 24% said not bothered either way. So yeah. And on my YouTube channel also, I did do a poll as well. On Instagram, on YouTube, 29% said yes, they do want him to stay. 41% said no, and 29% said not bothered either way. So yeah, there was interesting comments as well on this as well. Darren said, I think if a manager needs to be more savvy in League One, and in the Championship, or at least some experience in it. I wouldn't mind him staying though if he's fully committed to it and not just going through the motions. If not, he maybe needs to move on. And thanks for trying. Now Now, let's have a look at other people's comments as well. Yeah, we had loads on Twitter as well. We'll go to the bottom and we'll read up. Ryan said, remember Ryan? Ryan says, not sure. Andre hasn't really impressed since joining, but given a squad clear out on his own players, he might work long term. Or do we need an experienced head to steady the ship? It's a tough one for me. Aiden says, Aiden Walker, not Aiden, who's in the chat. He said, no, yes, he's called players out correctly, but have any of his subs actually influenced the game? Bar Watford away. In fact, majority of the time, he leaves the team completely unbalanced and we get a lot worse. Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that, really, can you? Mark says, no, as I feel he doesn't want to stay. His comments have been telling. There is a lot to fix, and we need a manager that can develop the football and the players. Yeah, indeed. Yorkshire Pundit says, yes, he's shown he has the balls to sort out the mess. He knows what's wrong and he needs time to change it. The issue is, are the problems too great to sort out, and will he jump ship? Yeah, obviously these comments were before the press conference, so I think people's perceptions probably have changed. Terry Nigel on Twitter, no, for me, he has been a complete failure. He had ample time to galvanise our group of players, keep us in the division, but has failed miserably. Albeit with a squad riddled with dross, I'm sure he's a good manager, but it hasn't clicked for him at Town. Yeah, agreed. And Simon makes a good point. He said he doesn't seem to be showing his authority in the dressing room, which I mentioned earlier, and doesn't seem to have the appetite to be here. Yeah, agreed. It's going to take a massive overhaul of players to leave and getting the right ones in for us to be a success. Feels very similar to our relegation from the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. Yeadon Terry says if he hasn't got the stomach for a fight, then he needs to go. Yeah, agreed. But Marco says the instability at our club right now is appalling. Whilst he hasn't done a great job, changing yet again isn't a step forward. Backing with players he wants and can shine in League One, I think he could do well for us. Sadly, I suspect his mind is made up, though, and will go. So, yeah, I mean, thank you all for your contributions in that. I really appreciate that. Like I say, I'm going to kind of share what I think, really, because obviously, I think for me, I've made no secret about this, about the manager. And I think that, like I said, I haven't been too convinced with Breitenreiter since he's come in. Yes, okay, there's been massive problems in the dressing room. I do empathise there. But what I can't understand is his decisions that he's in control of, i.e. tactics, the substitutions. It doesn't really, it doesn't, the win. We haven't got results, ultimately. We haven't got the results, right? So we've got 2 wins out of 12. That is absolutely shambolic. Yes, the players are down tools and everything, right? But for me, you've only won 2 games out of 12 here. And, that's not good enough. I think we've regressed since he's come in. Look at what Worthington had them doing, We didn't win every game, of course we didn't. But we played that attacking brand of football. We were putting it looked like the players were really putting in the effort and giving it a go. Full, kind of, getting on the front foot and attacking. And I think we've regressed in performance since he's took over. The levels, results not been good. And like I said, the players did really seem to respond to him. But with Breitenreiter, there hasn't really been that effect, which, I think he's shown nothing in his time in charge, really. I think even look at his poor tactics, his team selections. Now, fans like him because he's slaughtered the players in the media. But for me, he's just as much to blame as well. I think great managers, and this is the good part, great managers can get the best out of players, though. And he's just fallen out with players by the sounds of it. So, I don't know. like I said, there was no chance of relegation with Warnock. Some of those games we drew with Muller, if you look at them, we would have won with Warnock, wouldn't we? And the players were giving their best for Warnock too, because he knew how to motivate them. Breitenreiter, I think he is quite a dull and uninspiring for me. Not great tactically. I haven't seen anything. Results, like I said, results were mixed under John Worthington, but we had some identity and desire, in that time as well. And I'm not too sure what Breitenreiter was trying to implement. Moving forward, which answers your question, Blue Terrier. Biggest problem for me is if he leaves, who is next? Yeah, I'm going to answer that. Moving forward, I think maybe we do need to be going with an experienced coaching league, one who knows the league and has the know how to get out of it. Some people may kind of look at this, but I think somebody like a Nigel Pearson, kind of figure. I think that's somebody that I would, somebody of that character, that there's, that appeal. Somebody like that, really. I think he is not going to take any rubbish. He's going to have the dressing room on side, and he will obviously, might not be the best football, but he will actually, really kind of unite people. I think he would be a good appointment for me, but I think ultimately, whoever comes in next, what I will say, whoever comes in next, I want to see stay now. I want to stick with this guy, whoever comes in now. Because I understand that we have so many managers. It's been ridiculous. We've all of a sudden become a Watford, sacking managers constantly, but that's because the decisions at the top have constantly been wrong. Not, and that's the reality. It's not because we like sacking managers. It's because the decisions at the top have been wrong. I think we've built this reputation now of sacking managers a lot. But yeah, whoever comes in next, whoever it is, I want to see stay for at least 2 seasons, and that's it. So, did you hear that Stephen Chicken revealed this week that the players didn't want Andre and weren't happy when he was appointed, as he thought he would make them train twice a day? No, I didn't hear that, but thank you for telling me. I think for me, yeah, look, the players, because of the pre-season, and yes, coaches have their different ways, but I think if he knew that the players weren't looking that fit, I don't think it was a sensible idea to do double sessions to me, because you're making the situation worse, So for him to put on those double sessions, like you say, and for players obviously not to be happy about him coming in, but ultimately you have to be professional in this business. And I'm sorry, the players, they're spineless. They're spineless cowards. And I'm not defending the players, by the way, guys. I'm not, because I think they've let us all down, really. But I'm just saying the manager, Breitenreiter, has to take some of it, because what I've seen, it hasn't been good enough for me. It hasn't been good enough, in my opinion. And that's it, really. But yeah. But even the fact that he was making them train twice a day, that isn't helpful. I know that if he would have done that, okay, we'd have done one session a day, one session or whatever, and then in pre-season, get the double sessions, and if that's how he wants to work, then fine. If we stay up, when we, if it meant staying up and just doing one session, I would have taken it. I'm not saying we would have stayed up if we would have done just one session, but I'm just saying that double sessions when the team isn't fit doesn't make any sense to me. That it doesn't. It's not logical, is it? Yes, that's his way, but he should have waited for that in the pre-season and just done training sessions, but not done overboard like he did. But yeah, nothing against Pearson, but not sure he would take it due to his health. Yeah, no, I didn't mean I'd want Nigel Pearson. I want somebody like that. Somebody like that, and yeah, but I just think somebody that's experienced at League One, somebody that can get out of that division. Obviously, that's common sense, Scott. But you know, if you can get somebody that can get out of that division, that knows the league inside out, I think that's the route we have to go down, really. Ultimately, so yeah. Mate, would you go with Michael Duff because he's the League One manager and you need to go at Barnsley? I have my reservations about Michael Duff because he obviously was linked with us, obviously, as we know, in the championship. And I think the stumbling block there was he wasn't prepared to move up here. You know, because obviously his kids were down south, obviously at school, so he wasn't willing to relocate. So I don't know if that would be possible. But like you say, somebody at League One level that has done well in that division is somebody that we should be looking at. But yeah, not too sure about Michael Duff really. But yeah, I mean, I think we've covered everything really, guys. I think we've kind of covered everything. Hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. It's been a bit of a more of a show about other topics rather than just a preview. We haven't really touched on the preview, but yeah, final game tomorrow. Like I said, we'll be live for a watch along 12:15 for that. So join me then if you like tomorrow for the game. And yeah, we'll obviously get into the game and bring you the game to you on the channel. But yeah, I think I've kind of covered everything really. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens though, like I say, over the coming days. And Blue Terrace's outside name, but Michael Scubala. Never heard of him. I've never heard of him, mate. I don't know who he is. Let me Google him. I'll Google him. I don't know who he is. I'm sorry, but where's he from, Blue Terrier? The fact that he hasn't been in this... Oh, he's at Lincoln. He's at Lincoln, right. Mind you, look, I don't know. Is he... It's an interesting... It's a name outside the box, isn't it, really? Like you say, an outside name. How have they done this? Have Lincoln been in League One this season? I don't even know how they did. Guys, I'm let me have a look here. We're just gonna... I think they just missed out on the playoffs, didn't they? Yeah, they just missed out on the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, it is an outside name. At least he's had some experience in League One. But do we need somebody with a deeper experience? And I can't think of any names, guys, but I just so that's something to kind of think about. If Breitenreiter leaves, which it looks like he's going to, isn't it? So, but yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Anyway, it's been a good show. Have a good rest of the evening. If you're watching this in playback, please make sure you do smash the likes and subscribe if you are new. More content to come over the coming days, starting tomorrow. Then we'll do a season review on Monday if we really have to. And I'll also do the keep and sell. I think that'll be a pretty easy thing, won't it? The keep and sell list. But I'll do that on Monday as well, Monday night show. And yeah, and then obviously anything that comes out in between, who knows? Andre, I don't know. One thing's for certain, Andre's future has to be sorted. Within the next few days after the game tomorrow. We can't be waiting. We need to know what's happening. So I know he's going to be speaking with the owner next week. But yeah, be interested to see what happens there. But yeah, this is a great live stream, mate. Yeah, big up to you, up the town. Yeah, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. But yeah, have a good rest of the evening. I will see you tomorrow for the live watch along as we take you through the game, our final game of the championship. Sad to say, but we can't change what's happened. We have to reset and rebuild and hopefully, the good times are coming back and we can get back up to the Championship soon. But yeah, anyway, have a good rest of the evening. I'll see you tomorrow for the watch along, as I said. And like I said, thank you all for your support. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. The outro is not working, so I'll see you later. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's happening with the outros, guys, but I think it's something to do with... I'll have to look into it, but it's not playing on my thing at the moment. But yeah. Yeah, it's just not showing. I don't know if there's something wrong with the iPad or whatever I'm using, but yeah. Well, hopefully it resets it tomorrow. But yeah, anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm going to end the live stream now. So yeah, take care. Up the time.